You're listening to BambinoBabble's story. Once upon a time, in a sunny meadow, there lived an ant and a grasshopper. The ant, whose name was Andy, was diligent and hardworking, always busy gathering food and preparing for the winter. He had a small underground burrow where he stored his provisions. The grasshopper, on the other hand, was named Greg, and he loved to sing and play. He spent his days in carefree joy, hopping from blade to blade of grass, and serenading the meadow with his melodic tunes. As the warm days turned into chilly autumn, Andy the ant knew that it was time to start preparing for the cold months ahead. He gathered grains, seeds, and other nourishing food items, carefully carrying them back to his burrow. He worked tirelessly, day after day, ensuring he had enough to last through the winter. Meanwhile, Greg the grasshopper continued to frolic in the meadow, enjoying the last days of warmth and abundance. He laughed and played, hopping around with his friends, and singing his heart out. Whenever Andy would pass by, Greg would invite him to join in the fun, but Andy always politely declined, explaining that he had work to do. One day, as the first snowflakes began to fall, Greg's carefree world suddenly changed. The meadow, once teeming with life and food, became barren and cold. Greg's friends had all disappeared, seeking shelter and warmth. With a rumbling belly, Greg realized the gravity of the situation. He saw Andy, busy at work, carrying food to his burrow. Feeling desperate and hungry, Greg approached Andy, shivering and weak. "Dear Andy, can you spare some food? I have nothing to eat, and winter is here," he pleaded, his voice barely a whisper. Andy looked at Greg, his heart filled with mixed emotions. He had expected this moment to come, knowing that Greg had not prepared for the winter like he had. But he also couldn't bear to see his friend suffer. With a kind and understanding smile, Andy said, "Greg, my dear friend, I have been preparing for the winter all this time. Come with me to my burrow, and I will share what I have." Overwhelmed with gratitude, Greg followed Andy to his cozy burrow. Inside, there were neatly organized piles of food, enough to last them both through the winter. Andy shared his provisions with Greg, teaching him how to ration the food and make it last. As the days passed, Greg witnessed firsthand the hard work and dedication that Andy had put into his preparations. He saw how the ant would go out every day, even in the harshest of weather, to gather more food and ensure their survival. Greg realized the importance of Andy's diligent efforts and felt a deep sense of regret for not having done the same. From that day forward, Greg vowed to change his ways. He promised Andy that he would work diligently in the future, ensuring that he would not suffer in times of scarcity. Andy, with his kind heart, forgave Greg and welcomed him as a partner in their shared preparations. As winter passed and spring arrived, Andy and Greg emerged from their burrow, stronger and wiser. They continued their friendship, now bonded not only by the music that Greg brought to their lives but also by their shared understanding of hard work and preparedness. The meadow bloomed with new life, and as Greg sang his songs, the other creatures listened with newfound respect. They admired the unity and support that Andy and Greg had displayed, learning valuable lessons about the importance of planning ahead and helping one another. The moral of the story remained the same: hard work and preparation are essential for survival and success. But now, the tale of Andy the ant and Greg the grasshopper took on an additional layer of depth. Andy and Greg became well-known figures in the meadow, admired for their resilience and the way they had overcome their differences. Other animals, inspired by their story, began to work harder and plan for the future. The meadow flourished with productivity, and the sense of community grew stronger than ever before. As time went on, Andy and Greg continued to be inseparable friends. They spent their days not only gathering food but also helping others in need. They taught their fellow meadow creatures about the importance of teamwork and unity, emphasizing that by working together, they could overcome any challenges that came their way. The once carefree grasshopper, Greg, discovered a newfound passion for organization and planning. He used his natural charm and creativity to develop systems that would benefit the whole community. Together with Andy's unwavering work ethic, they formed a dynamic duo that brought prosperity to the meadow. Years passed, and the meadow thrived under Andy and Greg's guidance. Their friendship and the values they instilled became legendary. The meadow became a shining example of a harmonious and well-prepared society, where every creature understood the importance of contributing their fair share. One day, as they watched the sunset together, Andy and Greg reflected on their incredible journey. They marveled at how their friendship had transformed not only their own lives but also the lives of all the meadow's inhabitants. They knew that their story would be passed down through generations, reminding future generations of the significance of hard work, preparation, and the power of unity. In recognition of their extraordinary contributions, the meadow's inhabitants organized an annual celebration called the Feast of Unity. Every year, they gathered to commemorate Andy and Greg's story, expressing gratitude for their wisdom and the legacy they had left behind. And so, the tale of Andy the ant and Greg the grasshopper became a cherished fable, reminding children and adults alike of the importance of planning, diligence, and helping one another. It taught them that with hard work and a supportive community, they could overcome any obstacles and create a world filled with prosperity and happiness. As the meadow continued to thrive, its inhabitants carried the lessons of Andy and Greg in their hearts. The memory of their friendship and their unwavering dedication to preparedness would forever inspire generations to come, ensuring a bright and prosperous future for the meadow and all its inhabitants. And so, dear children, remember the story of Andy the ant and Greg the grasshopper. Let it guide you to work diligently, plan for the future, and build strong and supportive communities. Just like Andy and Greg, you have the power to make a difference and create a world filled with harmony and success. Good night, my little ones, and may your dreams be filled with the joy of friendship and the rewards of hard work.